School, schooling, learning, book. You ever ask yourself why people go to school? Did you ever ask yourself why you ever ask yourself why people go to school? Did you ever ask yourself why you went to school? Did you ever ask yourself why people continue to study? Did you ever ask yourself why you invested all this money, spent all this money to learn? Did you ever ask yourself why every now and then people are building schools, and one of the biggest business around the world today is school, whether it's online, whether it's on site. Nowadays, so many schools, so many learning programs are happening online. And back in the day, school was traditionally for, okay, just you go there and learn how to do geography and history and all of these subjects. But things have changed. Now, even skills are learned in school. Business, so many other things. So many things. Um, People they learn enough for school. The question where they ask them again is, have you ever asked yourself, have you ever bothered to ask yourself why people go to school, why you went to school, um, why people continue to build schools, why all these schools here and there. I ask myself that question every now and then. Every day I ask myself that question, and the more I get answers, the more I get new answers, the more I get developed answers, the more reason I feel like, it's important for me to continue educating myself. It's important for me to continue learning. But the funny part about this whole thing also is the more I educate myself, the more I learn about school. Um, the more I learn about school, the more I learn about these things, the more I continue to realize 80, 90%, 95% of our people from our community don't even know why they went to school. 95% of people in our community don't even know what schooling is. 95% of people in our community, um, or it's probably they know why they went to school, they know what schooling is, they know what education is, being educated is, but they have decided to ignore the real reason why they went to school, and maybe just decided to focus on what can actually help them achieve whatever they wanted to achieve. It's food for thought. That segment where we get together and I just talk about maybe things they want to see or things they want to experience or things I find what having conversations about. I think a lot. I sit in my quiet place most of the times, and I just ponder and just ponder and just ponder. And sometimes I just want to share these conversations or what I think about with those who care to watch or those who care to listen. Like I said, today the topic is about schooling. Why did you go to school? Why did we go to school? Why do people go to school? Why is government? Why is individuals? Why are people investing so much money in schooling? Like I said, one thing is established, one thing is certain: 90 to 95% of the persons in our community who went to school did not even know why they were going to school. Now, when I say they did not know why they were going to school, is because the main reason why they were going to school, or the main reason they were supposed to go to school, is not actually um, their main reason for going to school. Um, if you ask my opinion, the only reason people were going to school, or the very first reason for me, was to learn how to communicate. To learn how to communicate. That was the basic reason why everyone needed to go to school. People needed to go to school. That was the basic reason why schools were established. That was the main reason why. Uh, sorry, I'm going to cough and cough. I'm half cold. That was the main reason why. Excuse me, guys. That was the main reason why schools were set up everywhere. Because for some reason, communication needed to flow, especially after people started visiting Africa. Africans started traveling out of Africa. People decided to interchange cultures. People started, mingling. People started getting together from different places with different languages, with different cultures, different backgrounds, different ideas, and things like that. There was need for communication. There was need for you to talk to me and I talk to you, and we understand each other so that um, we don't fight, we don't argue, we don't get into things that will not help us. I feel like that was the origin of schools. Hey, I needed to teach you how what I'm saying. I needed to teach you my language so you can understand me. I needed to learn your language so you can understand me. I needed to teach you my culture so you can understand me. You needed to teach me your culture so I can understand you, and things like that. For me, that was just the basic reason why school was started, school was created. To kind of like ease communication, to get people to that place where when they speak, I can understand, and when you speak, when I speak, you can understand. Because just imagine back in the days where some people were speaking English and the others were speaking Douala or Roko or whatever language they were speaking. Communication was difficult, right? So I feel like that was how school was schooling or learning. That was probably the very first time people felt like or thought, hey, I think I need to teach this man English, or I need to learn country talk, so that way we can really communicate. For me, that is the best and the most important reason why learning is important, schooling is important. For me, every time I hear the word school, every time I hear the word learning, every time I hear the word education, I just feel like the most important reason is for you to be able to communicate and talk to someone and talk to people and talk to some other person. Let me make sure the volume is okay, guys. Let me just make sure the volume is okay and then we can go on. I'm not feeling too well. You guys can hear from my voice. I'm half cold. Okay, I think the volume is okay. So, like I was saying, for me, the main reason why people are going to school, or people should go to school, or people went to school, is for proper communication. The world will be chaotic. The world will be crazy. It will be disastrous if people did not go to school and learn how to communicate, and learn how to communicate in your language, and learn how to understand your language, and learn all these wonderful things about. Because what schooling actually do is it squeezes something that you were supposed to learn in a very long time, in a very short time. So, for instance, if I was just supposed to learn English on my own, based on how you speak and me interpreting and all of that, like just learn on my own, it will probably take me 5 to 10 years. But what schooling does is it has organized the way certain things are supposed to be studied, or the way we can go about learning certain things, organize them in a way that it starts from where it's more important, it builds that foundation, and then other things can pile up. So yeah, for me, the most important reason why people go to school, or people should go to school, is communication. You go to school to learn English, you go to school to learn French, you go to school to learn how to behave, you go to school to learn all of these things, because at the end of the day, you want to communicate effectively. Now, what happens when you go to school and you still can communicate effectively? That is what we have in our community today. A group of people who went to school, but I still don't even understand why they went to school. A group of people who went to school and they feel like their reason for going to school was to traumatize others, was to prove to others that I am educated. A group of people who went to school and they feel like, oh, because I go for school, no other person should have an opinion. Every time there's a subject up for conversation, there's a topic up for conversation, no other person's opinion should count except mine. A bunch of people who, because they went to school, and school didn't even go through them, most of them. That's the simple truth. 80% of the people we have in our community, they went to school, but they were not in school. School did not actually get into them. They probably were just there learning how to read and write, learning how to read and write, learning how to cram uh, learning how to read and write, learning how to cram some wonderful words that they can use when they are making speeches and things like that. Like, you see a wide range of persons who answer doctor, this, that, like all these wonderful titles, and they've done all this research or they've done all these crazy things, but then when it comes to basic communication, which was supposed to be the fundamental of why they went to school, um, they fail. They fail horribly. Um, I usually tell people that the most challenging thing on earth is being educated. The more you're educated, the more the responsibility is on you to make communication easy for every other person. Somebody who did not go to school, somebody who is not educated, somebody who is not learned, doesn't really have that too much responsibility when it comes to communication. They are limited. They don't know things. They don't know words. They are not loaded with what it takes to build a very good communication channel or a good communication environment between two persons. When you go to school, when you're learned, when you are literate, it is your responsibility to make sure that if there is a conversation happening, the person on the other side must grasp everything, if possible, 100%. That's the reason why you see some people learn 7 languages. You see some people they can speak English fluently, and then also they can speak Pidgin. And once they start speaking to you and they see that you're comfortable with Pidgin, they'll move themselves down to Pidgin because they understand that it is important for me to communicate with you in Pidgin so you really understand what I'm talking about. It's not about you speaking Pidgin and I'm only going to speak English because you must learn how to speak English. No, it's about this moment. It's about us communicating. It's about us wanting to have conversations that can generate something that is beautiful for tomorrow. Now, if I stay like, oh, I can only speak English, and knowing well that you don't understand English, doesn't make any sense, right? However, if the person who is wanting to speak Pidgin also knows how to speak English, then they can speak English. Now, I've had situations where I am talking to somebody who understands Pidgin very well, and they were speaking English, and they claim, "Oh, not talk Pidgin for me. Talk English. I talk English. You to talk English." My question generally is always, do you even understand what I'm saying? If you understand what I'm saying, that's the essence of the conversation. For you to understand me, if I understand you, then that's fine. Now, if I was saying something or if I was speaking a language that you don't understand, it's actually going to hinder communication, and then maybe there's going to be some gaps or some loopholes or it's going to slow down our conversation. I don't know, slow down whatever we're trying to do. Like I said, for me, the most important reason why people should go to school, why I went to school was to learn how to communicate, was to learn how to speak. Whether it's English, whether it's French, whether it's my country talk, whether it's other languages that I plan to learn, Italian and all of these things. The basic reason is for you to communicate effectively. You understand? I was asking somebody the other day, and like, what do you think is the difference between somebody who is educated and somebody who is not educated? So somebody who is literate and somebody who is illiterate. What do you think is the difference between these two persons? And according to them, they were like, oh, person will be educated, go school plenty, maybe get first degree, get PhD, get whatever. And the other person will be educated, get PhD, get this, get that. And I laughed. I said, for me, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's correct. That what you just said is misleading. For me, the difference between somebody who is educated and somebody who is not educated is the fact that somebody who is educated will actually have words for every situation, for every conversation, that can permit the next person to understand what they are trying to communicate to them. That's the reason why, if you look at English language, it has words upon words upon words. It has what we call synonyms, right? So there is hungry. Let me just look up some synonyms for some words. So for instance, if we take the word hunger and then we look for synonyms, starve. So if you take the word hunger and you want to look for synonyms, you're going to have emptiness, you're going to have starvation, you're going to have famine, you're going to have malnutrition, you're going to have malnourishment, you're going to have inanition. So you realize that even though there is already a word for a particular situation, for a particular circumstance, you have synonyms. So the difference between somebody who is literate and somebody who is an illiterate is that those who are literate usually have about 10 words that can help them explain to other persons what they're actually trying to communicate to them. So for instance, if they say, hey, I'm starving, and you're like, I don't understand what you're saying, they're going to say, oh, I mean, I'm hungry. And then if you say, oh, I don't understand you, they're going to use another word, or they can better explain what they're trying to talk about. For me, that is somebody who is educated, that's somebody who is learned, that's somebody who is literate. You cannot say you went to school and you have a PhD in whatever, and when you open your mouth to talk, people don't understand you. You cannot say you went to school and you have a PhD in this and that, and yet we live in a country where we are the most corrupt, we are the most underdeveloped, we are the most backward, we are the most all of these things. Then why did you go to school? What was the essence of you going? Like, what was the importance of you going to school? If you going to school was not going to help us as a community get better. I don't know if I'm making sense. So for me, being literate or going to school is, first of all, you actually understanding that I am going to school because I want to gather knowledge that can help me communicate effectively with people, with peers. That way we can build our community. If that is not the reason why you went to school, if that is not the reason why you're going to school, if that is not the reason why you feel like you need to get educated, then you missed it all. And that is the reason why we have the community that we have today, where we have people with PhD, doctor this, doctor that, doctor. Yet they're managing a country, they're running a country, and we don't see where they're leading the country to. You look at the type of things they do, and you look at the education that they have, and you start to wonder, like, okay, wait till you learn for school, wait till they teach you for school. You have somebody who is a law professor, who understands law, who has been teaching students for more than 30 years, knows very well that by the law, this is what you're supposed to do. If you don't do this, you're not going to qualify to be a presidential candidate under your party for the next election. Yet, they go ahead and make a decision that holds them back, and then in the future, they start complaining, oh, these people are wanting to block me because no. You cannot go to school and you understand all of these things, and instead of you to communicate effectively to our people, instead of you to teach our people, instead of you to show our people the way, instead of you to lead our people, you decide to abandon everything that you learned and you're doing the other thing. That's the reason why we have the community we have today. That's the reason why people go to school not because they want to learn things that can help them develop our community, but they go to school because they're thinking, someday I'm going to occupy a position, and excuse me, in that position I'm going to occupy, there's going to be a lot of money that I'm going to manage as budget, and that money is my money. It's not the people's money. It's not money for projects. It's not money for anything, and I can eat the money. I can do whatever I want with the money. The most they can do to me after they realize I've mismanaged the funds is that they can fire me and bring in some other person, and then I can go rest for 5 years, and then they can reappoint me. Going to school, education is more than what we think. education is more than what we think. And I feel like that was the biggest mistake our educational system made. Our educational system made us to believe that the only reason why you're going to school is because someday you need to come out with certificates or degrees and whatever and get a job. So because of that, most people go to school just thinking, once I come out, I need to get a job. Now, what happens when they come out and they don't have a job? They are frustrated, they are tired, they just don't want to do anything, they just want to complain. They just want to complain, they just want to lament, they just want to... imagine that our educational system was teaching us that, hey, you're going to school because you're just trying to acquire skills that can help you face the world. What are skills in communication? What are skills in talent? What is like skills in so many ways that can facilitate you interacting with the rest of the world? Just imagine that our educational system was teaching us that you're going to school today not because government must give you work tomorrow. No, you can come out of school and create something and start something on your own and build. And then at the end of the day, even give other people, create jobs for other people. Look at the Bamilikes in our community. Back in the days when I was growing up in the 90s, most of them were considered illiterate. Most of them were considered people who did not want to go to school, just like the Igbo people, right? Especially those of them who grew up in Kumba, in Cameroon. Most of them, after first school, after primary school, most of them dropped out. They were seen in the market, learning trade. They were there just learning how to trade, learning how to, and then after 10 or 15 years, they were actually settled. So they were given their own shop, and then they had to continue life. Mind you, you have a friend who, after primary school, while you were going to secondary school, he was going to the market. Both of you were actually continuing your education, but in different ways. So while you choose to pursue your education in the formal way, going to school, secondary school, they decided to pursue their own education in business and in a completely different way. Mind you, whatever thing you were learning over here, they were learning over there, because they were not just taught how to sell, how to trade and all of that. No, they were taught how to communicate, how to greet, how to be respectful, how to persuade. They were taught things that helped them become very good traders. So while you were out here for 7 years, you obtain an advanced level certificate. For the next 3 years, you obtain a first degree in 10 years. This guy was out here doing business and learning almost the same things you were learning. And then they came out after 10 years with a business already. Not just a business idea, with a business already. Now, the essence for them was, hey, my customer, wait till you want. This, that. Oh, no, this one is better. Oh, they learned how to just sell whatever they wanted to sell, and they became so good at it, they did not have any problem. Now, you went to school, did whatever you did. Did you actually learn skills that were going to help you or permit you get the job you want, get the whatever you want? In most cases, no. So like I said, love it or hate it, like it or not like it, one of the craziest things that happen in our community is the fact that most of us went to school, most of us studied, most of us were going to school for the wrong reasons. Look around you. You will notice that 80 to 90% of what we studied in school, 80 to 90% of what we learned in school, 80 to 90% of what we had a degree in is actually not what we're actually doing today as career or whatever, as job or whatever. Also because at the end of the day, things are changing rapidly. Back in the days, the system used to change every 20 years. Then it moved to changing every 10 years. Now it seems like things are changing every 2-3 years. There's something new that's just going to change everything completely. So at the moment right now, we have kids in school, especially in Africa, who are actually saying, oh, I'm studying to become a this. I don't want to name names. I'm studying to become a this. I'm studying to become a this. They are studying to become things that are not going to be existent by the time they come out of the university. They are putting in efforts, learning and studying and learning things that are not going to be that important by the time they come out of the university. A good reason why I was saying in the beginning, the most important thing about education, about schooling, is the foundation it gives you, that communication, learning how to understand, learning how to grasp things really fast, learning how to move from this to this, learning how to adapt, those basic skills is what is more important. Yet our schools did not emphasize that. They were emphasizing things that most of us are not using today. Now, if you or me did not take anything away from this video, I want you to at least have this at the back of your mind. Every time the word school is mentioned, every time the word schooling is mentioned, every time the word learning is mentioned, every time anything, education is mentioned, think about one thing. Who started education? Who started this whole idea of schooling? Who started this? Now, and where did they go to school? Where did they go to school? And then they discovered that, oh, I think I should start a school. Because in the beginning, in the Bible, there is nowhere it was written that, oh, and God said, let there be school, and there was school. Yeah, it is true that God made Adam and God told him, hey, go and name this stuff, name this one man, name this one apple, name this. Maybe that was him teaching, right? That was the whole idea of schooling. But guess what? When it comes to the real Bible aside, which human being actually decided, you know what? We need to put in place a structure, a building where people can come in there every day and then we impact them, we pour knowledge in them. Who started that whole idea? And which school did this person go to? That is just to tell you that the origin of school is not from school. And if the origin of school is not from school, that should tell you that whether you go to school, the former or not, it is still possible for you to be very literate. It's still possible for you to be very educated. It's still possible for you to know a lot of things, even if you did not go to the former or the traditional school that me and you know. That is one thing I want us to encourage in our community. So many people are older already and they cannot go back to school because they feel like, oh, I'm old, how are these kids going to look at me? But if we encourage them that you really don't need to go and sit in a class, you can just read and read and read. You can just learn from other people. You can just get a mentor and learn from them. If it's English that you are interested in, get somebody who knows how to speak good English and learn. If it's whatever, if it's a skill, whatever thing you're interested in, it doesn't really matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what. Just get somebody. You don't really need to go to the traditional school. But just have it at the back of your mind that education is not about the traditional school that they made us believe. If you don't go university, if you know, it means you don't go school, it means you don't get sense. Gone are those days. Gone are those days. At the end of the day, see our country. 98% of the people managing and running our country are DR, doctor this, doctor that, doctor that, doctor that. But that country is the most messed up probably around the world. However, we have so many people who think they did not go to school, yet they have successful businesses, millions upon million, billions upon $billion businesses around the country, around the community. The difference between them and the other guys is these people did not even know that whatever they were learning, whether it was a trade, whether it was what, that was them going to school. That was them going to school. It didn't really matter whatever you were learning. That was you going to school. All you needed to do is learn and learn so well. And then you pass it down to the next person. Learn and learn. Document, like my brother Manny was telling me the other day. Have you documented everything about Toride? If you drop dead right now, do we have a place where we can go to and some kid can look at what you put down and then they can replicate Toride? I was like, whoa. That is him actually telling me to come up with a curriculum that can help generations after me. So this whole idea of, oh, people there, they go to school, now people they do the formal, whatever education, when I scrap and throw for bush. We have respect for them, we have love for them. But one thing is certain, every person that has lived life, every person on earth, somehow is educated in their own way. It is important for you now to understand that it's not just about you, it's about the other person. And if the foundation of us learning, going to school, getting educated is communication, then you want to enhance your own education. So when you talk, the next person is not going to stress themselves. They will just understand you. When they talk, you will just understand them. For me, that is the most important reason why people should go to school. So when you want to open your mouth and speak, people can understand you without you explaining. When they want to open their mouth and speak, you will understand them without them explaining. My end now with this. Just imagine say the word pregnant, nobody exists. Imagine say that word pregnant, nobody exists. Like today, you can just walk up to someone and say, hey, how is your sister? I say, oh, she's fine, but she's pregnant. Just you saying she's pregnant, it don't explain so long thing way. If that word nobody exists, you begin for instance, how are you? Fine. How are your sister? My sister, you know say that female no, and then he go meet us some male, some boy, and then they go now for hers. The boy move it toto, my sister move it close. The boy put it toto inside my sister at this thing, and then they make some distance, and then they make some, and then the boy come inside my sister, and then my sister now they like it's a whole crazy long explanation just for you for explain for the next person to say your sister be pregnant. And the reason how we would go school. So you know this word. And when I use the word, you to easily understand with what I talk. So if I know this word and you don't know this word, conversation is slow. There's some barrier to be for conversation. That's the only reason we go to school. To learn things that can help us communicate effectively. For me, that's the most important reason that we go to school. Just imagine, say you want to tell some person, say hungry, they do me. And you know why use that word hungry, or the word hungry maybe they exist. Or the person will tell you, say hungry, they do me. You don't know what you mean by hungry. So you get so as I did for you, so the whole day I never chop, I never put nothing inside my mouth, something like fufu, like this, I never put that in my mouth. So because of that, my belly empty, I become my belly like a whole lot of. What if you say, as you explain, so you say your belly, you say you don't know what belly mean. You see how it gets complicated and complicated and complicated. That is the reason why we need to be educated. That's the reason why we need to learn. That's the reason why we need to every day learn new things, learn more things, and as we learn, as we share with other persons, because it's only going to help us communicate effectively. They say, "Sinekwe one man siam nambuma." Thing we don't know. I don't know as I want to put them, but thing we don't know. A big part which way you think. Until we understand, say. We get to learn as much as possible, know as much as possible. Then you start realizing life will be easy. You go to places and people are speaking or are talking and you understand it very well. Most of the times, about 80 to 90 to 95% of the problems we get for community, it starts from someone saying something and the way they think, maybe even the way they talk. And then the other person now, two way in the year, maybe two way they understand. So miscommunication between two people. The person they think something, he the one talk him, but he not get the right words them and everything we need them for express which way he want talk. That other person don't hear what the person don't talk. He hear them for his own kind of way. Now for interpreter, he interpret them for his own level for thing the way he know him. Boom, problem don't start. If we enhance the education really for our community and the people, the way they don't really go to school and they learn book, they know book and all of that, they start emphasize the fact that education is all about communicating. Education is all about communicating. Education is all about us having conversations, us talking man to man, woman to woman, people to people. Like whatever message I'm trying to pass should go through the way I want the message to go through. Whatever message the other person is trying to pass and go through the way you want me to go through, and me to understand them perfectly, it will solve so many problems. Like I said, the only reason why people go school, the reason why I go school, the reason why I go school, the reason why me particularly, I continue to learn, I continue to read books, I continue to learn about different things. Now just say when I go for some place and some person talk, I always get a better understanding of what the person try to talk. When I go for some place and I want to talk, it no matter who they for day, make whatever thing I explain, make the person be very able for understand me where I not over explain myself. I'll tell you something. One of the best things that happened to me is to read it. One of the best education way I don't ever get them not to read it. I say this because on to read it, I've met so many people from so many careers from different places, conversations where I don't think if I've gone to just the traditional school, I've ever get them. You want to talk about therapy, I know a little on therapy. You want to talk about pregnancy, I know a little on therapy. You want to talk about autism, I know a little on autism. You want to talk about music production, I know about a little on music production. You want to talk about cooking, I know about a little. You want to talk about fashion, I know about a little in fashion. And it's difficult to find a topic of conversation where I don't know sumo, what are taxes, what are real estate, what are all of this. Like every time I sit with these persons and have conversations with them, that is me learning again and again and again and again and again and again. Now, when I go to places and somebody with a tax background is speaking, I can actually understand them. When I go to some places and somebody with a real estate background is speaking, I can easily understand them. When I go to places and somebody who is a therapist, somebody who is, it doesn't really matter. Most of the times, whether you're a comedian, I can at least understand you from where you're speaking. It would have been difficult for me to learn all of this in a traditional schooling system. School no go ever finish. School no dey ever finish. The day where you stop for learn, na the day where you dey start die. Learn and learn and learn and learn and learn. The good thing about nowadays, the good thing about today, you can always pick up your phone and you learn so many things just right away. Thank you very much. It was food for thought. The topic was, why do people go to school? Why did you go to school? Why are you going to school? Why are you sending your kids to school? More not make that mistake for send pikin for school because they go school for go learn book so they fit get work. No. Let them know schooling is just helping you build a foundation that can help you achieve whatever thing you want in life. Learn how to communicate, learn how to interact with persons. There are so many things you learn from going to school. Oh, they ignore them completely. And they only focus now on that degree or one time and they hope so we'll get a job. And then we reach for that job, we never even build relationship with people for that job. Whereas school, we don't already teach you how to build relationship with people, how to work with people from different places and things like that. Like I said, for me, the most important reason why people go to school or why we go to school, why we should go to school is to learn how to communicate effectively. Any person who knows how to communicate effectively can easily get whatever they want. Look at the world today. Look at the world today. The most wealthy people on earth, on planet Earth, are people who know how to communicate what is in their head effectively to people who can help them build that thing. Thank you now. It was food for thought. See you guys on the next one.